Dawson Rider Wiki.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here with my review of the Power Rangers Super Ninja Steel Premiere Echoes of Evil. To mark this special occasion, I'm even wearing this special winter Dawson hat attire. I also feel like I'm about to do Scranton the Electric City with Michael Scott. But anyway, setting aside Victor and Monty as usual, this was actually a solid premiere. Not without its problems, not that it wasn't rushed like a lot of the premieres in this era, but it was solid. Just to get the negative stuff out of the way first, Victor and Monty are still awful. Their main thing was their story of them coming up with a monster repellent and getting rich off of it after having encountered monsters in the Ninja Steel finale, and we find out it's farts. And here's the thing. Even their acting is annoying and their general presence, but that story idea isn't awful. In fact, I wouldn't even mind it if they just stayed rich off this repellent and then almost took a Trip and Van-esque role from Beetleborgs, just to make something different, to make this season feel different. But the fact that it was farts was it's just such low humor. And it's not even just one fart joke. Lots of shows will have one fart joke, but they're like, farts! Like a rider belt, but with farts. So that is, and they made a statue out of them, which ended up, they put in the stuff in, the super steel in later, or the prism, sorry. But that was the only, like, real negative about the episode for me. I mean, I had nitpicks here and there, but basically I thought it was solid. It was rushed, but solid. You know, Madame Odious is alive, and they're found actually by Sledge, who came through a wormhole. He time and dimension hopped because they actually mentioned, okay, we're in a different universe. That was a throwaway line that they could have somehow included last season, which would have at least put out one of the fires that was caused by the Dino Charge finale, the Supercharged finale. Like, I'll be interested to see if they do anything with that later. Not with Sledge, but with the dimensions, like whether the core PR universe is in the same universe of Ninja Steel or Dino Charge. But we know for sure that Ninja Steel and Dino Charge are separate universes and very likely RPM. I'm going to assume that the core PR dimension, which includes the majority of MMPR through Super Mega Force, is either in Ninja Steel's timeline or is a separate timeline. I don't think they will put it in Dino Charges. Even though I don't think they care about how much they would have messed with continuity by doing Dino Charges finale, I think that that's the most likely scenario, whether we get a throwaway line or not. But I'm grateful we at least got a throwaway line. I'll give them props for that. And if, when we get the cameos, they manage to actually do throwaway lines to explain, fully separate Dino Charge as its own timeline, or separate all three of them, I'll be happy at least. And there's something I want to talk about at the very end about that, but I'll save it for the end of the review. But so that was fine, even though I'm not the hugest fan of Sledge and their crew. It was a nice little bit for fans of them. Since it's the 25th anniversary season, it's kind of a nice thing, I guess, for that. It does kind of remind me of back in the old PR days when we were using suits from every which where, because when he went to scavenge Galaxy Warrior's ship, he brought monsters that we know are from Ninja's footage, and he brought one of the Tokyuger Robos, which was kind of neat. And he wasn't destroyed or anything, he just got tricked into thinking he was taking the Super Steel Meteor in exchange for help. So we'll likely see him again. His whole intro would have been a great storyline for the Dino Charge team-up if they were to have done that. But yeah, so that was kind of neat. And for whatever reason, one of the prisoners he brought with him that was a ninja monster knew about the Super Steel, even though it was new to this dimension. I doubt we'll ever get a reason for that, but she's joined the ranks. She's one of the ninja monsters, so she joined the ranks of Madame Odious. So, like I said, I doubt we'll ever get an explanation of why she knew about it, but she basically ratted Sledge out, giving Odious the Super Steel. And then we basically reinstate the status quo of Galaxy Warriors, just with Odious in charge instead of Galvanax, which I'm mostly fine with because the Galaxy Warriors template was actually one of the few things I quite liked about Ninja Steel. I thought it was a unique perspective on monster fights. But basically, they think the prism isn't broken, the prison is broken. The Rangers know that they're on their way because Mick comes and warns them. And we actually got some kind of neat scenes of them doing some ninja spy work in their ninja stealth suits. Something I forgot to mention like 3 times last season when they used those. I actually really dig those suits, and I wish I could find the rest of the figures for them. But I do find it funny that their hoods are like tented up. Like, why? It looks stupid. That's the only thing I don't like. But anyway, it's always nice to see Rangers willing to put themselves out there, even if they don't have powers. Preston was the only one that was actually blending in like a trench coat. Everyone else was like in a tree in this really like standout ninja suit, but he was like the MVP of that whole scene of like actually hiding and using his magic. I almost wish there was a side story during the summer of Preston sort of being a vigilante, since he's the only one with powers and helping people out despite them not having their powers back. But yeah, they sort of trying to figure out what's happening, and Madame Odious winds up finding the Super Steel under the Victor statue because their plan failed. Or the Super Steel, the prism, I'm sorry. But then she repairs it and is trying to make her Super Steel, but they get the Super Steel away from her, and it's sent back to Mick, and the prism repairs all their powers, and they get everything back, morph, destroy the monster that Odious leaves. So something that I thought was cool, like I said, things I liked was the, like I said, just the general scenes of the Rangers trying to figure out what Odious is up to and set a, sort of almost a trap for her. I thought that was neat. And also, the meteor that we were tracking at the end of last season that was full of Ninja Steel, we now know is Super Ninja Steel, which is different. It's not the most amazing, cool explanation ever, but I'm thankful that they actually are giving us a reason for the Super title. I mentioned this in another video, I think maybe even the Ninja Steel ones, so that makes Dino Charge the only one to not give us a concrete reason for the Super title. Like Samurai had the Black Box storyline, which led right into Super Samurai. Megaforce, of course, was entirely new powers, or a power-up. And then Dino Charges was just kind of, we're super now, because yes. And this one was the Super Steel. Because it's like a sort of offshoot of the Ninja Steel element, I kind of wish, makes me really wish they had a different name. Even Ultra Steel or Titanium Steel, I don't know, something would have been cooler than Super Steel. Partly because we've been saturated with it these last years, but it just sounds so dorky. But I'm at least thankful they gave a reason for it. And also, it might seem a weird thing to be thankful for, but I'm thankful that we actually didn't get the Super Steel power-ups in this episode. We just restored the status quo. I'm mainly thankful for that because they didn't rush it. I was fully expecting like, oh guys, we got new powers because of the Super Steel, shing! And it's going to likely devolve into filler now, but I'm glad we didn't rush it. Like, we clearly got a setup for, hey, this is Super Steel, there's a reason for the title, kids, we get to see glimpses of it in the opening. So, like I said, not the most amazing thing ever, but I'm glad that there's actually a reason that this is different, and stuff like that. But yeah, it was mostly solid. Like, it wasn't amazing, I wouldn't put it in my top premieres, maybe not even the middle premieres, but it was decent. It set things up, it restored the status quo in a slightly new way, it set up the Super Steel, that will likely be, you know, well, we know it will be used for the rest of the season stuff, but for like the power up and stuff, but I like that that was set up. Mix back, all that good stuff. But so yeah, it was mostly decent. Based on the episode descriptions, it looks like we're gonna head straight into filler, which isn't unheard of. Most PR seasons go straight into filler after their premiere, but it's usually kind of meaningful filler. We'll see how they handle it. Sometimes it's hard to tell from an episode description, but I'm at least glad that we have the actual debut that we're probably saving for the next episode of the super mode, even though it's cockpit only. I like when they pace themselves like that, because even though this was a rushed episode in terms of setting everything back up to status quo, we didn't rush that. The only other thing I want to talk about at the end here was just like the different dimensions things. Like I said, I'm grateful we actually did that. I'm interested to see how they set that up for the cameos. We know there's going to be cameos. There's rumored confirmed. They're like rumored and confirmed, room-firmed. Coomered, I don't know, that sounded gross almost, but I'm curious to see if they mention anything with that. Like I said, whether we set up all the PR universe as its own dimension and then Ninja Steel, Dino Charge, RPM, or whether the core PR universe shares the universe with one of these, except we know it's not RPM. RPM is like over here in the air. This whole thing just made me think, I wish they would have just, after Megaforce, or Super Megaforce being the 20th anniversary, would have been the perfect time to just make everything in Dino Charge after, like, the new PR universe. Almost like the Ultimates from, like, Marvel or something. Like, it wouldn't have been that hard to set Ninja Steel in this universe if you just mentioned stuff about dinosaurs. And then I think that would have been cool, a cool 25th anniversary story of basically the two dimensions meeting, the core PR universe and then the new one, and then you have the Ninja Steel Rangers and then maybe include a cameo or two from Dino Charge meeting some of the Rangers from the core PR universe. I think that would have been cool. It would have been a way to still have a shared universe, but we're starting fresh, so you still get creative freedom. But regardless, I'm glad that they're at least clarifying it a bit. I don't think that they're doing anything amazing with it yet, but at least it's a little something, so I'll give them credit for that. But anyway, overall, I thought this was a solid-ish episode. Nothing too awful, but nothing too amazing. I would probably give it a 7. Anyway, that's about it. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It's Dawson Rider, signing out.